Joining us now, New York Times bestselling author of the book Inside Trump's White House, the real story of his presidency, Doug Wead. Doug, we knew socialized medicine was coming. We knew the rationing of resources, but whoever thought it would be based on party preference?
Yeah, Natalie, and the heartbreaking thing to me is now all of these calls from journalists and hosts of programs on television saying that people who aren't vaccinated shouldn't be helped if they go into a hospital. Comics talking about this. The tragedy being, as the numbers show, the one community, the largest percentage in community that won't take the vaccine or not taking the vaccine are African Americans. This seems to happen over and over in the Biden administration. I don't think it's intended, but the African Americans seem to be getting the short stick all the time. So I hate to see this. I think this is heartbreaking. There must be another method to inspire people and unite the country. I got the vaccine immediately, and there must be other ways than to be so harsh and so cruel and so exclusive.
And to act like they're running out of medicine when President Trump was left with the cupboards bare from the Biden and Obama administration. And yet when he saw that there were shortages, he rushed production. We got the biggest industry mobilization since World War II. We never saw this targeting. He provided resources, and of course, then the states would start sharing when they didn't need the resources. But there isn't that sharing, that spirit of helping people under this administration.
It was like the Manhattan Project. I mean, when they criticized Trump on ventilators, he'd go to work on ventilators. He went to General Motors and other big companies that made cars and said, can you put together the machinery to make ventilators? And they did. And soon we were giving ventilators out across the world. He just went from crisis to crisis and knocked heads to bring the private sector, the public sector together. That's hard for many presidents to do. Either a president is a liberal like Obama and Biden, and they want to use federal government and not the private sector, or they're a Republican and they don't want the government involved. Trump got them both involved, whatever we have to do to make this thing work. And it was a crash program, and he got the vaccine and he got the ventilators, he got whatever they needed. He wasn't attacking New York, a Democrat state, the way Biden is attacking Florida. He was sending a hospital ship to New York. He was helping them get extra beds if they wanted them. He was doing his best to help in this crisis. That's what we need from government.
We do. And you think of the ventilators, we don't talk about that enough, but there were hardly any ventilators. And President Trump, those were expensive to be able to produce. And yet he got that done. No one, as we say, no one who needed a ventilator didn't get a ventilator. He kept providing those to people. But there isn't. We're already a year and a half into this. To be talking about shortages at this point, we should have a surplus at this point. And yet the Biden administration, they're just so incompetent at doing things. They just really don't know what to do except turn everything into a political battle.
It's getting a bit scary, and you can imagine what it would be like if there wasn't a completely servile, sycophantic media. Where would it be then? But even now, his numbers are down, and I'm hoping that Biden will be prodded by that to do better, to be better, to involve people, to think strategically in the White House. When I worked in the White House, we had little groups who were planning to anticipate the next crisis and the next story so that we could feed that information to the president and have scenarios ready for him. I know people are doing that in government. He's just not getting them or seeing them, or he doesn't have time to read them.
He's too busy sleeping, I guess, or going to the beach. Today, of all days, he finally takes President Trump's advice and goes to the beach. If he'd just gone to the beach back in January, we wouldn't be into a lot of the messes we're in right now.
Well, this is the anniversary of the Constitution.
Right.
What a great document if we can hang on to that. And two presidents came out, signed the U.S. Constitution. James Madison and George Washington later became president. But what's interesting to me, Natalie, is most countries of the world on a day like this, that's when they celebrate the birth of their nation. You can't have a nation without a constitution. This is the day we got our constitution. But we celebrate our birthday on the day we declared our freedom. The Declaration of Independence was signed. And that's when we celebrate our birth. We were free because we said we were free. We declared it. We made it a statement. We're the only country in the world that celebrates their birthday not on the day of a great victory in battle or on the Constitution or in the inauguration of its first leader. We celebrate our birthday on the day that we said we are free. We got to keep that in mind, and we got to keep saying that we are free.
I think we haven't realized just how important that freedom is until this past year with COVID, because we did take so much for granted. We celebrate every July 4th and Constitution Day, even last year President Trump did when we started seeing our founding documents. You can't even go into the National Archives now without all these warnings that you might, be triggered, because this is dangerous now. But losing our freedoms is so dangerous, and you lose your freedoms when you forget your history. Doug, thank you for keeping the history alive, recent history too with the Trump administration, because without our history, we really don't have a country.
That's right. You're so right, Natalie.
God bless you, Doug. We'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Bless you, Natalie.
Thank you. Thank you.